What are some bitter truths about human nature? We often justify things that are clearly wrong. We often use anger as a cover for everything from sadness to fear because we feel more in control with that emotion, and that normally makes the situation worse. I can picture in my mind a world without war, a world without hate. And I can picture us attacking that world because they'd never expect it. Jack Handy. Hey there, are you subscribed yet? Please do. Also leave a like on this video to help out the channel. There's always going to be someone who will try to take advantage of you or ruin your life no matter what. Everyone can be toxic, if you allow them to be. Best thing to do is know who's right for you and who's not. Fix your life and choose the right people. Most humans will betray their values to satisfy a basic need. If you understand how to meet someone's highest need, you can easily influence that individual's behavior. Out of sight, out of mind. Friends drift apart. It is human nature to think wisely and act foolishly. Not everyone ends up living happily ever after with their true love. I'm glad you are enjoying this video. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. That we are, all of us, under the right circumstances, capable of murder. We're all the bad guy, sometimes. People are greedy and they don't give a shit about you. We've evolved to have an us versus them mentality. This was a useful survival tool when we were small tribes, and it's the root of many problems in modern society. People who rarely communicate with you will hit you up once you have money. People pleasing doesn't work. We like to justify our own bad behavior by making blanket statements about human nature. People take you for granted, if they know you like them. Crab mentality. If I can't have it, neither should you. Our brains suck for modern culture. Every time you remember something, it's not 100% the same as last time you remembered it. We process things serially. Have health problems from sitting in a desk for work all day. We have emotions that make it difficult to be what is considered decent 24/7. Could go on, but basically we are not made for our modern culture. We are blinded by money, or anything with significant value. A lot of times we abuse it and grow less appreciative. We are a very fickle being. Very tribal, and ultimately self-destructive. Good and bad are subjective, we know nothing for sure. At the end of the day, if there are two people left on planet Earth, someone is gonna want someone else dead. History will always repeat itself. We don't like the bitter truths. I was taught in my youth that giving to the point of self-neglect was proper if people needed it more than you. Then I would be upset when my expectations of others to do the same fell short in regards to me and things I needed help with. It wasn't until years later I realized that due to the laws of attraction, people who are generous givers mostly attract people who are selfish takers. After some time I realized I must be diligent about identifying and setting boundaries to those people before they bleed me dry. With the same sexes I've tried to align myself with like-minded people and found a nice slice of happiness with a good group of people. We are a death species and only really choose to grow or develop when our personal survival is threatened with actual extinction. The worst part is that even when we do grow, we have an extremely short cultural, societal memory. We are hyper-tribal, easily divided and exploited by our own. We are hardwired from hundreds of thousands of years living in small hunter-gatherer groups to think of other humans as us versus them. Our tribe versus that other tribe. The in-group versus the out-group. People will act different when being observed, the Hawthorne effect. Humans are still essentially animals. Diffusion of responsibility. The more people there are around, the less responsibility we feel to act. Conversely, the mob mentality is also very real. Human beings are like locusts versus grasshoppers in that in small numbers we are docile, but grouped together we can commit destruction. Everyone has a breaking point, and when people feel desperate, the chance that they will choose nobly is very small indeed. We as a species house some of the most evil living beings imaginable. No stone-cold killing lion could ever match the viciousness of someone like Mengele. On the other hand, we are capable of extreme acts of selflessness and altruism. Truly astounding. A lot of people overestimate their ability to be self-aware and underestimate their ability to be defensive. 1. Morality is extremely flexible. 2. People very rarely think for themselves. They will suspect you without evidence, betray you once your usefulness is gone, and throw you away when you hold no value to them anymore. We dumb. There is a standard of beauty. We're more inclined to listen to celebrities than actual experts. That humans are inherently stupid. Actually, reasonably intelligent people are few and far between. And they are rarely listened to, even when they are correct at least 90% of the time. Honestly, I think the worst truth is that most people are fundamentally decent people, largely because this implies that the minority have managed to twist our society culture in such a ducked-up way we're outright afraid to be nice to each other because if you show weakness to the one of those few people they will mercilessly duck up your life. That we all judge others by their action but ourselves by our intention. In short, we think we're better people than everyone else. The more I learn about people, the more I like my dog. Mark Twain, 1835–1910. Two men looked through prison bars. One saw mud, and the other saw stars. Author unknown. We fear what we don't understand and as a result we'll hate it without first trying to understand it or we'll just try to destroy it. If people think they can get what they want without consequences to themselves they will go for it without care for how their actions affect others. Being someone with autism has taught me that most people will tear you apart if you are different. It doesn't matter what it is, you have a trait that some consider a disease, or undesirable, they will be unjust and biased against you, and they will take every opportunity to discriminate against you. The ask can produce all three states of matter. We can't ever have everyone agree on one thing. Humans have done the most horrific deeds in history and blamed it on something else. The people in charge tend to be those that want to be in charge for selfish reasons. We ducking suck. Nobody can be truly selfless. Everything we do is somehow a benefit to ourselves. People only change if they want to change. Have a great day. There are no good or bad people, only the perception of good and evil. Essentially, nobody sees themselves as the villain. Emotional intelligence is more powerful than academic intelligence. We're all selfish. We think we're smarter than we are. It's impossible to have all the answers, but it's easier to pretend we do than to figure out the actual answers. Didn't Martin Luther King Jr. change the world because of his love for the people he was fighting for? Morality is incredibly subjective, and no one is all bad or all good. Humans are prone to making generalizations and blanket statements about other people. It's in our nature to do that. It is not a man's worst enemy that evokes evil ways, it is his mind. The majority of the world are borderline sociopaths who will happily step over your corpse if it got them a better space. Yet they won't hesitate to pass howling judgment when you mess up. Humans are basically evil and their default behavior is to screw you for their own benefit. We judge other people by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions. We seem to instinctually jump to supernatural explanations over rational examination. Even if we were to temporarily defeat superstition in society, permanently defeating it may prove impossible. We tend to think evil is good and good is evil. I'm tired of this backslappin', isn't humanity neat bullshit. We're a virus with shoes. Bill Hicks. We think we're special, different to other animals, but we're not really. We're not better and we're not worse than other animals despite the flood of misanthropy on here. Look closer and you'll see our faults written all over the animal kingdom and same with our virtues. We are still under the laws of nature, so our animalistic traits still lie within us. Mob mentality. You can be dying in a piss-soaked gutter and people will sooner spit on you than help. No one is so blind as he who will not see. There's not a lot of people who will genuinely want to be your friend. Most of them will be your friend, but will have a price tag attached. There is always something about you people are going to want to change. It is always those you love most who will end up hurting you the worst. We are our own biggest bullies. A human grows in person every time something terrible happens to him or on his eyes. From a kid, with a smile like the sun on his drawings to a teen like me that already runs out of patterns to his mother, that thinks about himself as a worse being, to finally an adult that's always sad and pessimistic. This is the truth about many beings out here, and I am one of them. There are only two kinds of humans, the ones who know very well that they don't give a shit about anything but themselves and the ones living in denial. We are, technically, a plague. Selectively nice as well as cruel, being judgmental too quickly, backbiting, stupidity, governing most of our life through the glass of ego, refuses to be what she actually is, believing in karma. Hatred and greediness and unloyalty. Sadly we are the parasites who are destroying the planet for our own greed. If we die, planet lives. If planet dies, we die. We exist. Our emotions are fickle. You can love someone and think they're amazing one day and then wake up feeling almost nothing for them at all. We are all naturally selfish. Moral code is subjective and reality of human nature is cruel. What you see as moral, not everyone is going to. Even if we go to extremes. You think what Hitler did was not moral? Probably. I hope. Well, in his head it was probably moral. In the end, who gets to decide what's moral or not? Say you have an inescapable choice of having to decide between saving one loved one and 100 random people. Some people would decide to kill their loved one and save the other 100, and some would let the 100 die and save the loved one. So which one is moral exactly? If you let the 100 die, their families will be sad and they will scold you, hell the whole world might. On the other hand, if you kill the loved one, others close to you, important to you will scold you, and that will also hurt you a lot, because it's the people that you really care about. Are you selfish if you let them die instead of your loved one? They have families too. But then again, that one person is your own family. Either way you will feel like shit, and that's reality. My sexology here was a bit extreme, but it can be applied in other aspects of life. Scams. That we gauge autism spectrums but not narcissism spectrums.